Right then, pull up a chair, grab a pint or a cup of tea if you're feeling proper, because today's tale is one of saddle sores, lantern signals, and a whole lot of galloping through the night. You've heard of Paul Revere, yeah? Silversmith turned midnight messenger. Well, get ready to meet the rest of the crew, because this episode's all about the five riders of 1775, the unsung Avengers of the American Revolution. Spoiler, Revere wasn't riding solo, and he didn't even make it to the end. Let's get into it. Picture it, April 18th, 1775. The smell of gunpowder's still just a dream, but tensions in Massachusetts are higher than King George's wig on a windy day. The British are itching to crack down on rebel leaders and seize colonial weapons in Concord. And the Sons of Liberty? Well, they've got a comms plan straight out of Fast and Furious. Horse edition. 5 riders, 5 routes, 1 mission. Warn the countryside and light the fires of revolution. And while the textbooks keep name-dropping Revere like he was Beyonce, let's give a proper shout to the others who hoofed it hard to save the revolution before it even began. The British had a little plan: sneak out of Boston by boat, roll through Lexington, arrest Sam Adams and John Hancock, then march to Concord and grab the colonials' gun stash. Classic empire move, but the colonial resistance, not stupid. Enter Paul Revere, artisan, propagandist and part-time spy. He didn't just hop on a horse willy-nilly. This man set up a signal network like he was running a steampunk version of Mission Impossible. His job, alert the countryside. But, and here's the kicker, he was just one of 5 riders who fanned out that night. The others? William Dawes, Dr. Samuel Prescott, Israel Bissell, and Sybil Luddington. Wait, what? Yeah, that last one was 16 and had more grit than a gravel driveway. Paul Revere and William Dawes set off on parallel routes. Revere took a boat across the Charles River to Charlestown, dodging the British Navy with all the subtlety of a drunk raccoon. Dawes went the long land route through the Boston Neck, because the man apparently enjoyed cardio. They met up in Lexington, gave Adams and Hancock the heads up, who were probably like, "Cheers lads, but do we have time for breakfast?" And then picked up a 3rd rider, Dr. Samuel Prescott. Now Prescott wasn't even planning to join the squad. He was out late, probably whispering sweet nothings to his fiancée, when he literally galloped into history. The man knew the back roads better than the tax collector knew your pockets. But wait, plot twist. British patrols stopped all 3. Revere got nabbed. Dawes fell off his horse after a very dramatic bluff charge. 10 out of 10 for effort. Prescott? Legend says he leapt a stone wall with his horse and kept on riding. That's how Concord got the warning. Now let's talk about Israel Bissell, the postal rider turned revolution MVP. While the Boston trio was busy dodging redcoats in Massachusetts, Bissell was told to ride from Watertown to Connecticut, New York, and all the way to Philadelphia. That's 345 miles in less than a week. This man literally shouted, to arms, the war has begun," in every town from Massachusetts to Pennsylvania, like the Paul Revere of 6 states. By the way, get this, on the first leg, his horse died from exhaustion. So what did he do? Switched horses and kept going. That's not just dedication, that's borderline mythic. And yet, he got left out of the history books like he was a background extra in Hamilton. What gives? Now, if you think the men were tough, wait till you meet Sybil Luddington. It's April 26th, 1777. The British are burning Danbury, Connecticut, and someone's got to warn the militias. Enter Sybil, 16 years old, and her dad's a colonel in the local militia. She rides 40 miles through the pouring rain in the middle of the night, whipping on doors and yelling like a revolutionary banshee. The British are burning Danbury. And unlike Revere, she didn't get caught. Also, minor flex. She rode double Revere's distance, and did it without backup. Just her horse, and a raincoat full of righteous fury. Imagine for a moment, what if Revere didn't get stopped by the British patrol? Would he have made it to Concord? Would we be calling it the Revere War Ride instead of giving Israel Bissell the long-distance crown? Maybe, but history's not about what-ifs, is it? Wait, no, we love those. Here's one for you. What if Sybil Luddington led a cavalry unit? Would have turned the tide of the whole war by sheer horsebound chaos. Let's break it down with the old core identity lens, shall we? Paul Revere. Had moral clarity, sure, but was also a propagandist. His goal: stoke rebellion and shape the narrative. Values, liberty, and one hell of a dramatic flair. William Dawes, unsung hero. Purposeful. No ego. The postal worker of revolution. Did the job, didn't need the glory. Samuel Prescott. Right place, right time. Acted out of love for his fiancée and principle. That makes him the romantic idealist of the crew. Israel Bissell. Absolute unit of commitment. He rode until his horse died, then rode some more. A symbol of perseverance over prestige. Sybil Luddington. Resilient. Brave. Overlooked because of age and gender. She had the moral clarity and courage the entire rebellion was supposed to be about. So what happened next? Thanks to these 5, militias in Lexington, Concord and beyond were ready. The shot heard around the world fired on April 19th. And the revolution was no longer just tea parties and angry pamphlets. It was war. And the messengers, they faded into legend, or in most cases, didn't even make it to legend. So next time someone drops Paul Revere's name like he was the only bloke out there, pause, raise your glass and say, "Oi, what about the other 4? The 5 riders of 1775 weren't superheroes. They were ordinary folks with grit, guts and a gallop. They weren't after glory. They were after freedom. Each of them took a risk most wouldn't, without knowing if anyone would remember their name. And yet, here we are, telling the tale, pint in hand. Stay curious, stay sharp, and stay just sober enough to remember it all. This was just a swig of history. And if it wasn't in your textbook, it bloody well should have been. And before you go, do a brother fav, like, share, and subscribe.